All right, this is game number 3 of AcesHi versus Red Alert. This will be the tiebreaker game. Currently, Red Alert is staying at has taken the first game. At one point, AcesHi has taken the second game, and here's game number 3. With me, I have Delta and Beggy Ice casting this game.
GM.
Don't be him.
I see you. Aces have Red Dog this time on their team, which is a superb improvement. I will read off the ships at the top. We have 2 Dreads, Hacker and Abra. Hacker went Mines, Abra went 5 Armor. Peter Alex on the BC with the mini Yammo. General again on Obi with Plague. Red Dog this time supporting with EMP on the Raven, and Baggy doing his levy business at the top.
And at the bottom, we have Battlestar with 5 armor going against Beggy again. This is we've seen this before. Bio on BC with mini ammo, Kidnapper on Colo, Animosis with Raven and EMP, and Sanic with his Sanic business. I guess the same thing as Beggy. Ivanopala had waited for the extra minerals to get the extra energy for the bombards, and here is just in time on the battlefield for Abra to have lost his shields and go into Hall. Now, of course, because this is the replay for like the 3rd time happening, Abra already knows what the plan is and that the bombard is to that you will eat the bombard, so he tries to dodge it, and let's see what happens. Oh, the dodge.
Nice. Are you doing Control Shift F?
No, right now the action is pretty much around the same cloud. Once there's more movement, I will be.
I'm trying it out, and it does center the ships where you're talking, where you see a pretty good wide thing of the action. And if you just click on the ship, it will pan the camera more to center that ship, so you can move across more smoothly.
Oh, Delta and Beggy, you notice that the general has gone up top and plagued the 5 armored Desi. Do you guys
2
approve?
times.
What an improvement! What an improvement!
Allowing Beggy to keep that cloud and harass his Destro. Also allowing Beggy to upgrade on the field.
Beggy got 1 range extra, so he can help kite and a bio upgrade.
I'm not sure if you said that having Red Dog on the Raven was a huge improvement. Did you mean there was an improvement? Oh, Abra's in trouble here.
Oh wow! Wow, that is very close. That's a mini Yamato from death, right? No,
no. Mini Yamato would not have done anything here, but the bombard did come from the cloud, and it was done unseen, unexpected, in fact, because there was the last time the Desi had been seen, it didn't have enough energy. But I guess in this version of the game, the energy does come back faster, and he was able to get that in the cloud.
But if you look in the top lane, you can see the levy is pushing hard. Bottom lane, both levies are pushing.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, as the time progresses, the levy gets to upgrade on the field and adapt to beat whatever is in their lane. So, but at first, it seems like a losing ship slowly wins.
But the top Leviathan actually is doing significantly better than the bottom one, despite the bottom one being pushy. His opponent, the Hacker, has no damage essentially on the hull, or even very few on the shields. So it seems like Hacker is just actually retreating voluntarily, more or less.
He does have a slightly more farm than Baggy at the moment, but that is not in your control always, because farm patches do come randomly, sometimes more to one side than the other.
Yep. Sanic is a very greedy farmer. He has upgraded the 5 locusts and right away, and has been farming even in the middle with them, while Beggy has been opting for more damage to just really get that destroyer pushed in and now be able to farm at the base.
Who was Sanic's dancing partner here?
Hacker.
Hacker came back pretty much full shields and life, which is a little different than the Dread on the red team that's going beat to crap.
Well, yeah, that's what I think I was getting at earlier, that that Hacker was doing significantly better against his levy than Battlestar was doing against Beggy.
Oh, actually, I'm making a different point. I'm saying he wasn't really pushing him hard enough, where Senek got to farm a little more.
Yes.
Consequence free.
Yes, indeed. Here, Sanic has gotten both acid spray and bioplasma discharge, and he's able to cancel a lot of farm with that acid. Look at that. He just basically takes out patches. Animosis came with an EMP and EMP'd both the Siege Creep and Hacker. Hacker has no more mines because of that EMP.
Now the top two Destro is trying to push the top levy. It's finally working. He's respecting the two Destro.
One interesting trick that the red team Red Alert is doing here is that they get one of the destroyers farmed on the side where he can become a kind of a solid tank, get all his basic ups, get the hull, get the bots, and then they swap it to the middle and they put the other bombard desi on the side, which really makes sense because I mean Battlestar now has maximum utilities. Oh, what a play, again an EMP on top of two of them. Both of those
Awesome.
Two Dreads plagued. That is amazing.
Yeah, and Battlestar having those bots doesn't really help him as long as he's getting pummeled by Beggy.
And the Sanic
Both
went
Dreads have
farm
bots.
build, and Beggy went damage build, and it's still almost even. So.
Yeah, Beggy has no spells at this point still. It's important to note that Bio has opted for scan on the first up instead of I guess previous games where he went lockdown early. I assume that this case being a game where there was a little bit more back and forth, that there was more threat of a potential warp trick on the levy or something like that, so they opted for scan. Also, maybe they had less farm to go back with and potentially not enough for lockdown.
I find it interesting that the middle with 3 ships try to push the whole red team before the 3 other ships arrived. Hacker and Praetor got beat up a little bit trying to take that cloud versus outnumbered enemies.
The blue team pulled the same switch. Abra went over to the side to farm the side, while Hacker, with his basic ups, both in Gats and in armor, has taken the middle. Interesting move on Hacker here is that he went 6 Gatlings without getting his hull or his bots.
Oh wow.
Well, before he warped on the levy and could have maybe gotten a kill, so he probably did that.
Right.
I call those opportunistic upgrades that don't work out.
Yeah.
Well,
they went back.
They don't work out until they do, I guess. Here.
Well, if you upgrade for a kill and you don't get the kill, those upgrades might not be optimal what you wish you bought.
One thing I want to point out here about the red team is that they had a very nice surround around this cloud. They figured out the way. Oh, Hacker's actually in real trouble here because of that.
He got corrupted in bio, yeah.
Abra is getting caught between 2 other. Oh, and the mines from Battlestar are doing a lot of damage, and an EMP on everyone, and the whole push stops. So yeah, just really this kind of cloud map where there's a cloud in front of the base that allows the opponent team, I guess, or the offensive team to be able to hold position and bottle in the upgrading team in their base. One way to do this is basically run your tanks through the sides and threaten to cut in and cut off the supports. And it causes the supports to have to fall out of the cloud, which then causes the collapse of the full team to come out of the clouds. and Red Alert had this mapped out, had this figured out. Abra is a little bit stupider here. He just kind of walks right into the cloud face first, ends up getting pummeled in the face, and ends up losing half of the hull in doing so. I prefer the Red Alert way of doing things.
But it's
There's a
even
better
farmed
way.
now, which is different from the first two games where both times Red Alert got ahead early, 200.
Yeah, I think.
So
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Becky.
yeah, and so it's definitely pulling in the favor of Aces. Bioplasmic charge from Biggie.
Looking at the two levies, the red levy is a little more farmed, but I like the upgrades on the blue levy. Seems more well-rounded. I would say the red levy does not know how corruption works, despite having the spell.
The Red Levy is really a glass cannon, right? I think he has all offensive spells, 500 energy, and no upgrades in life. While the Blue Levy has more life upgrades, more long-lasting upgrades, and rapid regen, which allows him to stay on the field in a multitude of scenarios. Um, Sanic seems to counter this with high speed, agility, and mutas. I guess he's built for the long run, I guess.
He's going all energy and deep into energy. 500 energy is a lot, but you need to have it for this many spells.
Well, I'm not sure if it was the captain or if it was Red Dog who took the initiative, but certainly um, that EMP on Sanic will keep all of those spells under control. I think I saw it at least the second, if not the third EMP back to back.
I like what General is doing with this contaminate, getting huge patches of farm that otherwise would have been lost to the towers.
So here there was almost a warp trick on Beggy. There was about I think originally it was supposed to be 2 ships, then 3 ships, then 4 ships arrived. Almost the entire team other than General. General, he's been kind of just cherry picking that farm that's leaking through. A plague from General, not the best plagues. I think it could have been one on multiple ships.
Top farmer still Sonic, but the farm is even. But they're fighting for the tower, so Aces will get the lead.
I like the bio discharge on Baggy up top. That's doing about 2,500 damage to this 8 armor dread, just chewing him up.
I think one thing to note here is that as the OV progresses, or as the game progresses, and as the OV powers up, the OV is a better late game ship than the ships that Red Alert have. So as this game goes on longer and longer, the OV starts to have multiple abilities that will suppress the entire enemy team.
Totally agree. It's definitely a late game ship, especially with high energy and range. It becomes very dangerous.
And I think the comps are relatively mirror, other than the OV is basically swapped by a Colossus on the Red Alert side. So the Colossus is basically the 4th tank that they've been consistently running in their comp.
It does limit your kill mechanism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can see also the bioplasmic discharge is drawing the EMPs. He's been hitting now 3 EMPs.
Yeah.
Levy.
Yeah, I'm sure that the red dread is crying for help.
Yeah, but I think that Raven is now a little bit overwhelmed, and Beggy, you're absolutely right. Like, drawing those EMPs out when you have an OV on the board, you have the Dreads on the board, you have a BC with lockdown, and you have another Raven, and everybody really has energy. having to shoot those EMPs on the side lane levy just kind of seems a stretch.
Yeah, I think we might have discussed this before, but the energy war is often a huge determinant of late game, and having aces with 3 denies versus 2 denies on the red team, especially the BC not being able to deny the levy, really limits them, as levy is the kill mech.
Yeah. And in these kinds of games where it's a little bit more control based, because the kill mechs are comparable, both of them being, 2 levies, and both of them potentially being stuck or countered, I guess, by the Desi, double Desi with cover, for a given amount of time. Like, they can't really just snipe whoever they want. The moment that the Desis get cover and sit on top of a target, the levy can't really kill it.
Ooh, lovely plague.
It creates this kind of controlled environment where you really have to beat the other team through a bunch of little wins. Oh, there was a stall on general here. He's stalling in front of their
Very
entire team.
dangerous stall. He is
Very
the
dangerous.
most
Squishy.
most killable ship, I would say, on the blue team.
So Sonic has all the spells and 500 energy.
Wow.
Baby has 2 spells and 400 energy.
And not
Correction.
Impede all the time. What the
Correction, bet. So Neck does not have all the spells. He chose to buy Organic Carapace over Animosity, which tells you he is choosing to preserve his life more than kill anything.
Well, it's a little bit odd, right? Because he doesn't have armor at all. So animosity would imply that he's basically gonna play it low. And
That's a good point.
yeah.
Good point. He does not have armor, so he did not buy Animosity, so that makes sense. I take that back.
He's just playing it very differently.
Maybe a rational choice. Very passive. Where Baggy is, I think, launching his missiles and fighting his dread.
He's right up in there. He's
24/7.
launching his bioplasmid, he's launching his fighters, he's launching his missiles. Not a lot of things are stopping firing at any given time. I guess just now for a little bit they're taking a break, but
it's I had to respect the whole team trying to cut on me.
yes, indeed. I think the captain was potentially yelling at you to not take unnecessary risks. Otherwise, I'm sure you could have stayed in front of their towers for a little longer, or a lot longer.
Now, when the levy does have all his spells, that is, a dangerous time to be an opponent, and Sonic is probably looking for an opportunity to press all the buttons on somebody.
So here,
would...
General did not know, because he's used to playing on Omega. He didn't know that contaminates your own ships, and contaminated our own dread. But I do have a technical question, actually. Beggy, I saw you shot bioplasma discharge at a colo with hardened shields. Not ideal, but I'm wondering if it's between that and a destroyer with prot field. If you favor one over the other, what I didn't know, or what I wasn't sure about, is that the hardened shields would not get triggered by the leak.
Yeah. Initial damage, yes, but the leak leaks through. Or it did, at least, unless they changed it. It does damage over time, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't trigger the hardened shields.
Damage, it gets blocked, but the 1,525 over 6 seconds is what leaks through. It's what I thought.
Yeah.
But that bioplastic discharge was just to try to push mid back, to make them timid.
Right.
But I felt really good. I went back with 1k or something and got corruption and frenzy. My corruption is doing 43 damage, while his corruption is 41. I guess he pumped.
Doesn't know how it works. He barely knows how it works, I think.
Well,
and I like that you switched and are going towards him.
Yeah, he's started upgrading, armor and damage and stuff. I guess now that he has all the spells, Sonic, is kind of matching, almost matching if you think about it. But Beggy, you have animosity, a little bit less energy, and you don't have acid. So Dread
I think
versus
Beggy is
Dread.
Levy in a fight.
About about even in damage and exchange. But,
You.
but he gets
I
help.
guess.
I don't.
Yes. Yes.
If you look at the amount of damage here, Battlestar has been consistently just eating a ton of damage from the entire blue team, and has not really dropped. I mean, there's not a lot that's doing damage to him, unless he's being locked down, which he wasn't for a while because Praetor Alex doesn't have enough energy. Uh, Not much else can stop it. And here the blue team ate an EMP altogether, and Battlestar almost single-handedly just pushed the whole team back.
General does have 7 upgrades on his Side Blast, which, as the game progresses, becomes ever more so dangerous to the enemy Levy, I would think.
Yep,
And
yep.
that Siphon is going to become more and more helpful in the deny, especially against all these tanks that have abilities that cost very little energy to spam.
Yes, exactly, and here it is. And what a beautiful plague on 2. Battlestar again pushing in with complete impunity. And
The bottom Levy is getting help from his Colo, because I
Yeah.
think in a 101 engagement, the blue Levy would win. That's because of the slight upgrade differences, despite being relatively close in farm,
ooh, what
almost
happened there?
even.
I lost vision.
You lost vision? He was like 7 spaces in front of you. That
Yeah.
was weird.
Anyway,
That was
it's
really weird.
a really a dance cooldown thing with this Levy versus Levy when we have the same spells. So when I was on top, I was like flying like a boss, even threatening mid. Now when I'm on bottom, it's
Yeah,
I
it's a
have to
back and
dance
forth.
more. I
Yeah.
have to be focus on the Levy, and as soon as I get an edge on the Levy, the Colo comes in. I was like, I
Yeah.
have to back off.
Yeah, I mean that Colo, I guess he's kind of just an additional target. He's
Sponge.
not. Yeah, he's exactly. He's just a sponge for damage. He's not really threatening you. Oh, there
Oh,
it is.
General is getting intercepted on with Frenzy. Counter Frenzy from Baggy saves his life.
I had to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Even just the intent showed that you had the bigger balls. Um,
I
re-
I trust that has signaled to General that he should stay clear from the levy for the rest of the
yeah.
game.
Well, actually, I think it's important that General keeps going into that lane and helping Beggy out because I think his help is actually more important from the. Oh, Ivanopala is now chasing down General. Nice turn.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
deep. He is deep. He's getting siphoned. Gonna get plagued, I'm trust.
And now Battlestar swaps spots and he comes in. There's nothing we can do. Oh, Beggy comes in. Ivanopala, is he in trouble?
Intercept, bio discharge. Oh,
I
Profile
just
does
get.
go on.
I need to back off from.
Oh, General is dropping real low by the towers. There is so much going on in this moment.
Yeah, so much. Beggy got frenzied on himself, and then Abra found himself a little bit too deep. There are DMATs on both sides. DMATs from Animosa saved their Desi versus DMATs from Red Dog, which saved the Blue Desi. And Battlestar, despite being locked down and going all the way to the towers and almost killing the OV, has maintained relatively good health. I mean, he's got 10 armor.
That was an eventful engagement all over the map. It was hard to know where to pay attention to.
Yeah, and the farm is evening up again. They were almost 500 up for a while there, but now it's evening up 200.
General has 525 energy. His Psyblast does about 1680 to biological. There's still 7 upgrades, but he has 3 range on it, which is the 400 mineral upgrade, which allows him to hit from quite a far away, 14 on the Psyblast and 11 on Siphon, and throw that plague from
And yet-
downtown at 15 range.
And yet he still managed to miss Ivanopala there. You saw the short plague. He did not get it. Oh,
It does become a dance of land a spell versus get denied. He siphons the Colo.
it's another siphon. I would like to see that Contaminate be used more here. I think Contam on Battlestar would
Yes.
be useful.
Especially on the levy when the levy frenzies. I think that would really help
Oh,
the
100%.
blue levy win that engagement because it pretty much negates the whole thing.
Nullifies 50% of his damage, yeah. Yeah, that would have been.
So I can also see why I have such a huge advantage over Sonic. If you look at the rapid regen, I have way more rapid regen than he does.
You're doing
And
3,000.
he has the spray.
Yeah.
He's using spray to farm. Well, I really don't need to, but because I have mutas and temps, and he is not using that energy. He could be using, like, he's using the energy for spray, which he could be threatening with.
Mm-hmm.
But
And I did notice that also you have you don't have upgrades on your bioplasmin discharge, and he does.
No, it's a waste of money. Never get upgrades on Bioplasmic. There's like it Bioplasmic get worse over time. It's better, it's best at start, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. So
we have some
it's-
action happening at the bottom. There was a frenzy, and this is while the
Levy
middle's pushing.
intercepts away. Good use of that ability as a defensive one.
I want to point out that the blue team is more concerned with protecting their own players, with both destroyers having cover, while the red team is again very offensive driven. Battlestar has 16 Gatlings right now and has no cover.
Red Dog is running DMAT and EMP, 650 energy. Be a blackout around this time of the game. Perhaps even PDDs against the Bile.
So also giving out
Oh.
or
Terra
tricks
Frenzy? Frenzy, I would like to see more DMATs on our levy.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that myself. However, I think the DMAT in the middle was also very useful, and there are no. There's only one upgrade on the defensive matrix.
Wow. That corruption on the Dread with a bioplasmid made him do a hard U-turn. He said, no, thank you, and turn around.
It did block most of the damage though, which was unfortunate, but it did up the push.
The levy upgrades are really interesting. They look evenly matched in a lot of ways. If you look at their tentacles and bio discharge and the bioplasma, bio swarm. They have 1612 and 1512.
One has more range and more speed. With the speed intense, you farm more. So as you can see, I have more farm than he does with spray.
Yes, I agree what you said about the spray. He's being forced to constantly waste energy, so he loses some opportunities to contribute to his team.
But the spray does cancel out a certain amount of your own farm, right? I think that's kind of what the hope is there.
Oh yeah, of course. There's no perfect answer to anything. It's all kind of trade-offs. And
Frenzy.
wow, the Colo is melting at a rapid pace. Wow.
This was a great push. It was opportunistic because Battlestar was actually having some trouble at the very top himself, and then the Colo started getting in trouble, and then Beggy was able to frenzy on him. But overall, I wanted to talk about the position of the blue team. I think farming here, just kind of at the 60 or 70% mark, has again increased that farm differential. If you look at the very top, between the two teams, and the blue team, AcesHi is ahead by 7 to 800 now. 800.
But the levy fight is getting worse and worse for the red team, as you can see with the farm difference.
I want to see them square off 1 versus 1 with little interference from their teammates.
Oh, that's never gonna happen.
Oh,
There will be interference one way or the other. And here I think
the
we have
corruption is 50% on Beggy, and the corruption is 45% on.
There is what it looks to me like a warp trick from Aces with
And
the BC up top.
the red team is not aware. Oh, they are aware now. They scanned.
They scanned. They're still going forward.
Yep.
They are not respecting it. Okay, now they're pulling back.
So Abra's holding the mid. There are 3 ships coming from the top, 1 from the bottom, and Abra in the middle all alone. He's able to tank, I guess, for the team. Overlord was obviously never going to warp. Oh, and here was a warp
They
at
are
the very
attacking
bottom.
Beggy. Beggy manages to get out of there safely.
But you saw he was dropping faster than I was, so he backed off.
I love those engagement when the person pushing is actually going down faster than the person retreating. Hilarious. Long distance bioplasmic discharge from Beggy. Tower, interesting stuff. Oh,
Here-
I wanted to ask you guys about this.
No.
This laser pointer business.
Actually, Hacker.
Oh,
Back out.
why is he turning? Why is he turning in there?
Indeed, that is a very
That
good
is-
question.
A dangerous game he's playing of chicken.
He dropped really fast. In fact, if I could actually rewind that for a minute, because we're so intent on watching the levy battle in the bottom, when here Hacker with it. So we see what just happened. Battlestar warps into the bottom on Sanic. We have Ivanopala also pushing with Sanic. They feel like they got a good opportunity on Beggy on potentially sniping this with the double Desi. And Hacker here chooses, I believe, to turn around and push solo into their whole team. He just got
He
EMP'd,
gets EMP'd, locked down.
and he changed his targets to the BC and now to the Raven.
I just noticed, based on his Gatling size, that he has level 20 Gats.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So he's trying
And
to.
it's slow motion. Look nice. Okay,
But
this
he's taking
corruption
power
on him. This corruption on him does 47% more damage.
So
I don't think he accounted for that.
I just want to point out that he has a lock on, corruption, acid spray, and lockdown on him, all 4 spells at the same time, which is where he started dropping really fast. As you can see
No,
here.
at this moment, I would like to see the OV start to threaten somebody when they're unloading on the tank. Bioplasmic levy,
it's
nice.
crucial.
Nice lockdown.
Yeah. A
Oh,
bombard.
I
from-
see.
Sorry.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I see the OV wanted to get in there more, but the bottom dread was threatening him, so he had to retreat a little bit.
Yeah. The OV will always have to respect the position of the tanks, no matter how late in the game and how powered up he is. I guess he's always going to be able to be run down. And
Yeah, because the tanks on the other team are matching his speed at 1.8, which you don't want to see. You don't want to be in that position. You want to be a step ahead.
He does have shockwave just in case that happens, but you do still want to stay one step ahead. I would rather see him siphon here, the dreads, because really Psyblasting and Plaguing doesn't count for a whole lot if they have bots available and if they have prod field available, and they do.
Oh wow. I just noticed that the red team does have PDDs, and in the exchange between levies, the blue levy wasn't doing much damage from distance as the PDDs were helping the red levy.
Yeah, I wasn't doing any damage.
The two dreads up top with gats, it's really funny to watch them fight. One has 20 gats and the other one has 16 gats, but one has 8 armor and the other one has 10 armor.
Fireworks.
It is fireworks. They're shooting fireworks at each other.
I rarely see these levies with this much bile swarm. They're quite large as they leave the levy like balloons.
Oh, Beggy decided
Like you
to
try to take a tower.
solo take
I
a
got it.
tower.
Solo
Hey.
tower.
Oh, PDDs. What are you gonna do?
Now, Beggy, in from your perspective, could you explain your thought process for attacking the tower like it offended your mother?
So I got impatient. I wanted to kill the tower. It also forces a reaction. So they have to, do something. The Raven came immediately. As soon as the Raven came, I went away.
Yep, makes sense. And I think with the frenzy regenning so fast, the cooldown is every minute, right? So you're able to pretty much use it to force a reaction, pretty much as you say, and still get it back in time to threaten.
I'm noticing that the red team is retreating and balling up into the cloud, running away from the levy, who is almost killing the BC. Wow.
Beggy is in trouble now. Abra was in trouble with the blackout. There was a blackout on 2 of the dreads. This is not a good sign. I think there was a counter blackout from the blue team on one of their dreads. And here,
I don't know what just happened.
the Overlord.
Oh, did the Obi kill himself? He needs a demat.
There are 4 ships about to die.
He needs whatchamacallit, he needs to contaminate the levy to live. He must contaminate to live.
And he does not use Contaminate. Oh, he did use Contaminate eventually, but too little too late. And this was an opportunity for Red Alert to wipe out 3 or 4 of their ships, of blue Aces ships.
Ooh. My heart is pounding. That was too many ships in very low red.
I don't know about Beggy, but I certainly grew a few gray hairs out of that one.
Yeah.
Beggy has 23k life.
I was still pretty close. At 1 matrix, I think, and Destro got rest. But this was a major opportunity, which I think they just didn't focus fire enough.
Well, it was clear that they were all bunching up together. I mean, Delta mentioned it himself. You could see by their posture as a team that they were getting together and they were gonna kind of corrupt and frenzy and run something down. And the blue team was a lot less coordinated in that sense. Everybody was kind of all over the place and doing their own thing. And Beggy tried to snipe the enemy BC. He dove in there. Abra got in trouble at some point. And anyway, now
Blue team is trying to take the tower again.
Well, or force a reaction. But yeah, I want the tower.
And Hacker now has still 20 gats. However, he went up to 15 armor after that last encounter.
I like what I'm seeing here.
After that last encounter.
Focusing on the dread.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, after that last encounter, Hacker's not taking any more chances with taking that much damage. He doubled his armor effectively. Even blacked out, he's still going to be able to tank for the whole team.
So, fun fact, The Overlord needs one more range upgrade, which costs 800, in order to safely siphon the levy without being intercepted on as a result. I don't think General has that much money, but
Okay, again, if you like the rapid regen on the levies difference over this long a game is huge. Huge. It's like 2,300 versus 3,100. Like over this long, hitting the rapid regen, it's many ships over in damage.
And 2200 is just really the 50 upgrade, right? It's oh, there's a squeeze. There's a squeeze.
oh wow, that dread is dropping quickly. Oh, why did the levy pull back?
I had to respect the levy who frenzied and back up to the levy.
Beggy got accidentally splash plagued by the plague that was meant for Sanic.
Yeah, but I still have to respect the frenzy levy. So I backed up to the frenzy levy and to them too.
Sanic, the red team levy, has 22,000 life, while Beggy has 24,000 life. The battle still happens on the left side, on the red side of the field.
Oh, the dread is dropping. There's a bioplasma. Oh, he is not having a good day. He's gone.
And he's gone. That was fast. And the blackout came too
blackout.
little too late.
Red Dog has his blackout.
And is there a counter blackout? No, there is not. Red Dog has decided
He has it.
He has it, but he's not shooting it. Oh, and
I missed something, right?
Hacker.
Matrix on me, I'm free.
Is this a bait? Was this a decided move?
And here's a blackout.
No.
No, still not. Maybe it is a bait. Maybe. Oh, and the turn got
Levy
called.
frenzy.
I believe the turn got called. I would still like to see a demat on the right.
I would go for the Raven. I would go on the Raven if I was the Levy, but wow. Way to hold that blackout. Do you think that was an error, or was that a strategic, opportunistic wait?
It's hard to say in those kind of moments. Everything happens just so fast. Maybe he was too concerned with not missing the DMATs, especially because I feel like he did miss a DMAT on the right person once or twice, and I think he wants to cue them back to back to back, you know, on the dying person, that if you shoot the blackout but you miss the DMAT, you end up getting your guy killed.
Why is the BC on the red team standing before the base? Interesting. I did notice that Red Dog did have only 2 spells until this upgrade. Active spells, DMAT and EMP, and then the blackout. So he had less buttons to press.
He now took a page from Animosis' book. He got lock on as well. And one thing to note is the shields on both Ravens. One of them has 14 shields, the other one has 12 shields. Those are hugely important when dematting in this version of the game.
Oh yes, very
So,
nice.
Beggy,
There's the laser pointer on Ivanopala, who's dropping quickly, closely to the side blast from General. That is, oh, he got saved by a. Was that a miss?
not by the bell.
Oh.
And a blackout on 3 ships. Here, as much as General wanted to turn around and finish the job, he could not. Beggy's frenzy is back up.
What is? General is doing quite a bit of damage with his side blast now. About 2670.
Oh, Ivanopala had to come with a bombard, come back from base to save the rest of his ships. Ivanopala now has cover, however I haven't seen him use cover.
Now, when you lose a ship this late in the game with 1,000 farm, the farm lead just
Yeah,
tends
that's
to run
really
away.
Yeah,
huge farm lead now.
and I dare say that that ship that they lost was the most threatening, most aggressive, most threatening, and least vulnerable out of all of them. So it was definitely a good scoop for the blue team.
I like the kill the hardest first strategy.
Yeah, bang your head into the wall on the thickest part of the wall.
It is the Mongols going through the Great Wall of China.
Again, we're at the highest and thickest part of the wall.
Yes. 30 tentacles on the red levy, red 14 bile, 31 and 17 on the red. They are squaring off, but never one-on-one.
Alex has decided to build on his BC a little bit of everything. In fact, both BCs actually kind of have a very similar build. I'm not sure what 6 armor represents, but it seems like it's the right number here.
They both concluded.
Yep, 11 lasers and 6 armor, why not?
I like the Yamo Spamma on the blue BC. That can be a surprisingly good burst damage. Oh, the Overlord is getting intercepted. Frenzy discharged on. He gets a DMAT save.
But
Peggy returns the favor.
wow, ooh, both sides. Keep in mind here that the animosity.
Ivanopala made a huge mistake here, I think.
He wanted to get me.
Yes.
His emergency shields
cannot
popped.
black out the levy.
His
Cannot black out the levy.
And he did not die. He ended up with making it back to base with 300 health.
Well, he dropped as little as 1,000, right?
Keep in mind, everybody, that animosity will increase your damage the more you get damaged, and so really the levies, the lower they get, the more dangerous they get here. Significantly.
Wait, what? That increases damage? I thought it only increases armor.
Increases everything. We're casting.
It does.
So every ship got buff while Guardian is a piece of shit, right?
Yes. Additionally, grants bonus attack speed for up to 20% increase at the rate of fire. And
Corruption and by discharge from a levy on the enemy levy from Beggy. They are all blacked out. They're not having a good time. Intercept on the levy from Beggy. He is dropping quickly. He's down to 4k life, 3 and gone.
the side blast gone. So I guess that final
death
overlord.
Nail in a coffin.
The overlord being the counter to the levy, it did eventually play out that way. Red Dog doesn't have a
that's side blast range. Wow.
And Ivanopala calls the GG.
The carnage in the last moment.
An hour and 10 minutes this game lasted.
Well played by both teams. Very exciting game to watch and cast.
Indeed it was. It was a good even back and forth for quite a lot of the game. And even once the ship went down, it was still, a good back and forth. It wasn't super decided game. They still had very good.
I particularly enjoy watching the two levies square off at the few moments they had 101, and also the choices they made in upgrades.
Yeah, I'm sure you would say that. Both Beggy and yourself, Delta, are levy players, so this I feel like a lot of the game focus was on these levies.
As they were the most farmed up and the kill mechs.
I just want to point out to that this DMAT that absorbs 4,400 damage now is a significant block to the frenzy corruption. But I did have a question for you guys before we go here. Was the corruption that increases damage on the ship that's taking it? Does that also increase the amount of damage that the defensive matrix eats?
I don't know. I hope so.
Good question. I would think the defensive matrix is blocking anything going to the damaged target, and then that damaged target has a debuff after you've gone through the damage.
So
So
then the demat would do 44 incoming, not including the additional 50% in this case from corruption. By the
yes,
way,
because you damage shields and not the ship. But that's the logic I would have with it. But I don't know how they coded it. I haven't checked.
hmm the reason why I ask is because I did see one of the demats on the corrupted ship pop relatively quickly, which led me to think that it might take additional damage, but I'm not sure. I haven't done the math
It's
either.
hard, especially that late in the game when like thousands of hit points are being tossed around everywhere. I think the bioplasmid alone does like 3,000. So if it just
So
eats
mine
that
does.
and a couple of volleys, it would be that's 4,000 there.
Peggy decided to round off the number that corruption does here to 50%, so he got 17 bile. Decided to stop at that.
Is it? Is
Or
that how you upgrade? You just look at that percentage.
No, so I usually go with what's working. So at the point where I stopped at 17, they were focusing on PDDs versus me.
so
So it
tentacles was
stopped
the
working.
yeah.
Yeah, so I went into other stuff, into trying to brawl a bit more, see with the armor and the tents.
Indeed,
I
yeah.
also stopped Mutas very early, 7. So yeah, so basically all the last half an hour went all into tents and armor and speed and range. So why I went speed and range while they're going PDDs is to be able to
Catch up.
force the PDD and get out. Uh, uh, so it would at least my 17 bio was draining the energy of the Raven and making them timid.
So
But
if I hear you, you decided to become an energy deny ship with your missiles.
basically, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if they didn't deny or didn't stop it, I would then do a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
So
Forcing a enemy ship to use a spell is a form of deny. I
yeah.
like it.
Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah, and I think the locust you mentioned that you stopped those. I mean, I think you had stopped those before 10 minutes. I think Sanic had more locust than you had the entire game of 1 hour and 10 minutes. Sanic had I think 8 locusts at 8 or 10 minutes or so.
I think it's a wasted upgrade. I think Locust early. I would usually stop at 5. But then I was facing the Levy or something like this, and I had a few more because he had more than Locust than me. But every single upgrade after 5, in my opinion, is a wasted money.
I tend to agree, but I have noticed and a lot of quality levy players who go to 8 very quickly for some reason. I don't know what's magical about that number. I was going to ask you.
So actually, with the in this version of the game, the locusts that do that additional damage versus biological, I've seen them harass OVs and take OVs down like
Oh,
to really low
no,
really
no,
quickly.
no. There's a caveat, of course. When you're facing an OV, there's no amount of Locust that.
That is too
But
much.
then, yeah. So you can go, 30, but still, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and it's better kinda to get other shit like rapid regen, corruption and frenzy and intercept. You get all that, then the OV needs to stay back. Right?
Yeah, I would think with contaminate, Locust would be worthless.
You can fly them sporadically. Like you can control the locust so you can't get everything in one ball. But
Oh, what
but
a what
if
a
you, yeah.
what an excellent game, guys. Well played.
Thank you, thank
And
you.
big shout out to the Levy player. I particularly enjoyed, as it is one of my favorite ships, to see the nuance of master players, how they upgrade and use their ships, especially versus another Levy. That's a quite a chess game.
Yeah, it's you have all the same stuff, right? So it's
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. And it's who plays it better. But I think early in the game, you guys made very different decisions. You both arrived at the same destination, but I think throughout the game, you were way more productive for your team, which I think is important. Where he was focusing on denying farm and getting farm, you were, hurting the other guys, and that ability to dish out damage was useful the whole game. So at any moment, you were a threat to the rest of the team, where the other guy was not.
It's like the biggest difference I saw, which like I had a big better build than he is the rapid regen. The rapid regen is huge when you have the upgrades on rapid regen, and I got more speed and more range earlier than he did, and even didn't go. I'm right now 1.9 and he's 1.7. I'm all over the place.
Wow.
He's um,
Amazing.
All right, guys. Well, let's not give away all of our secrets. Maybe just in case we get around to the next tournament. I want to
Yeah,
thank
let's
you
cut
guys
that all
for.
out.
I want to thank you guys for casting with me today, and this was a great game indeed. I felt very accomplished after this. I thought it was a very good match and even matchup, I guess, in terms of combos and not a hard countered one. I mean, it does help that AcesHi won, but I think it was a great game all around. Thank you
Yeah,
both.
pleasure to watch, pleasure to cast.